back to my channel. My name is Abriila if you didn't already know me. Today I'm going to be filming the part 2 of the, I think I labeled it labor and delivery video. It took me so long to record it just because I had been working. Well, that's a lie, because I wasn't working, then I was working, and now I'm not working again. But I'm going to finally be able to film it. Right now it is currently 3:20 and I'm just waiting on Daywin to get home. That way he can watch the baby once he wakes up. And meanwhile, I'll be making dinner. Like I said, currently he is sleeping right now, so it gives me a little bit of time to cook. Daywin got off at 3. He should be home around 4, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. Yeah, so right now I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna make. So the other day on my break, I had gone to go buy meat to make some carne asada, and I'm gonna make carne asada tortas just because they're super easy and fast to make. All day what I had been doing was just cleaning, doing laundry, just because I had been working every day throughout the week. And then on the weekends I wouldn't be home, so I had to catch up on lots of laundry and cleaning. Let me show you guys how I make the carne asada tortas. So if you guys see the mess in the back, don't mind the mess in the back. Right now I'm just gonna grab a big sartén and put the meat to cook. And I had been letting it defrost, so hopefully it's all the way defrosted. And then I bought 2 packages just because Daywin takes some for lunch tomorrow, so yeah. And then I bought the bun, and then I'll need to cut up the vegetables. I have lettuce and tomato, and then I need limes. I have 1 tomate, which I thought I had more, but I don't. And get the mayonnaise out. And then I need butter just because Daywin doesn't like mayonnaise. So I put butter on the bread instead of mayo. I was thinking it, and I actually want to start filming more just because it is something I like to do. I'm just not consistent on it yet. I am trying to be better at that. But it is a little hard now that I do have Santiago, just because all my attention goes to him. And then I am the one that watches him. When I was working, Daywin's sister would actually watch him and his mom. And if they weren't able to watch him, then my grandma would watch him. A trick for cutting carne, I actually learned this from my suegra, is to actually cut it when it is still a little bit frozen. No, it's easier to cut. Ya terminé de picar la carne, and now I'm just letting it cook and make sure everything cooks evenly. And then I am gonna add some, let's see, some garlic, and I'm gonna add this evenly. And I like to add the lime kind of towards the end when it's done cooking, just because I like for it to be really lemony. Le voy a echar poquita sal. Just like that. And I'm just gonna close it, that way it cooks. Have everything here. I'm just waiting on Daywin to probably come inside. There he is. I'm vlogging today. Like you guys saw, I woke up Santiago by moving the camera. So I'm gonna go grab him right now. But it's currently 4:09, 4:10, and Santiago had actually been asleep for about 2 hours. I'm just gonna make him a 4-ounce bottle. So I was breastfeeding, and I was breastfeeding, but not exclusively. I was also giving formula. But when I went back to work, which it's probably been like 3 weeks, I did stop breastfeeding just because it was hard having to store the milk and go pump in a fitting room. So I just stopped. It wasn't that hard for me to stop just because I wasn't exclusively breastfeeding. So yeah. So I'm just making him his bottle. Gonna go grab him. Feed him. Let me check one more time if he did wake up, because I don't think he woke up fully. But it was my fault because I was moving the camera. So he did wake up, but not fully. I just went to go check on him, but he'll probably be waking up here pretty soon. It always happens when we want to eat too, that he wakes up. So also he does sleep on his stomach, and that's a decision that I wanted to make just because I had an incident with him sleeping face up, and it was super scary for me. So from that day on, he started sleeping on a pillow. He was still newborn, so he had those big pillows that actually my friend Lizette got me, and it came in handy. I would swaddle him up, and he would be sitting up, and he would sleep like that until he no longer fit in the pillow, and then that's when I started sleeping him on his stomach. I know the doctor said not to sleep him on his stomach unless I am supervising, but I felt more comfortable that way. He knows how to move his head. He alerts me when he's uncomfortable. So that's personally how I feel comfortable with him. Just in case anyone says that, oh, he's not supposed to be sleeping on his stomach. He does alert me. He moves around perfectly fine. Since we're already talking about Santiago, he is starting to get his little personality now. It's coming very little, but he's starting to laugh a lot and giggle. He's more alert. He'll move his head. He actually started holding up his head pretty early. I think he's pretty big for his age. He's about to be 3 months in 6 days. He turns 3 months on the 7th of each month. He's starting to coo now. He's starting to suck on his hands a lot too. What else? He now only wakes up once a night, which is around like 3. When he was a newborn, you know, it's a lot tougher because you're having to wake up every 2 hours. And even if he wouldn't wake up every 2 hours, I still would wake him up to feed him, just because babies don't know that they do need to wake up and eat. So I would wake up, feed him. Probably it would be like every 2 hours that I would do so. Now Daywin is getting out of the shower, and I already got everything else ready. Like I said, the meat is already done cooking. So now I'm just waiting for him to get out of the shower, and I can actually start tostando el pan. So I like to put it on the comal. I don't know. I personally like to put it on the comal. Here is Daywin's. Just put the top on. And there we go. Actually, much later, it's 6:18, and we already finished eating. And then Santiago woke up for a little bit, but then Daywin put him back to sleep, which I knew wasn't a good idea because it's almost his bedtime, and I know ahorita he's not gonna want to sleep. So I just cleaned up the kitchen, made his lunch for tomorrow, and then since I was doing laundry, I'm just ironing all his work clothes, all his pants, and his work shirts. And then Santiago woke up again. Say hi. Say hi. And then Daywin just ended up falling asleep on the couch over there. So it's just me and Santi. You kick so much. You kick so much. You kick so much. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my baby. So actually I'm back in the kitchen, and me and Dale were supposed to get ice cream because we live right next to Kaliji's, but he ended up falling asleep, as you guys saw. So it's just me and Santiago. And the other day I bought this cookie dough so I can make it. And I like this cookie dough. We've tried it before, but from a different brand. I like the cookie dough just because you can just put it in the oven. It's super quick to make. And it doesn't require anything like eggs and water and oil and all that stuff. So I got my pan. I love you. I love you. I love you. So that's what they look like, and then I have more, but I'll probably use those another day. And here's Mama's little helper. Hi, my love. Let's get these bad boys out. Let's see if I don't burn myself. Yum. I squished that one right now. But yum. So we came out for a walk. We came in from our walk. It's currently 7:51, and I just put Santiago's little pajamas on. And he should be going to bed here pretty soon. It's usually his bedtime. Around like 8:39. So yeah, we're just waiting for him to get tired. I'm gonna give him a bottle right now, and then he'll probably crash out. And this is my baby. This is my little baby. And the reason I bundle him up so much is just because me and Daywin do sleep with a fan on, and we sleep with like cold air. So I like it to be fresh for us, but warm for him. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and give him his bottle and see if he goes to sleep. So he does not like to be in arms and being laying flat, so I threw him in this. And he's just chilling there. You're too little for this. Daywin's aunt gave this to us. And it's just crazy to me that he's comfortable in this because he doesn't like his swing. He doesn't, don't mind my bra, it's dry now because I washed it yesterday. But he doesn't like his bouncer. He has another swing over there, and he just doesn't like them. And this is what he's staying in. I think it's because he's sitting up and he likes to sit up. Okay, so I'm finally going to start filming the second part of the first video. Okay, so where do I start? And I'm trying to be a little bit quiet just because Santiago is asleep right next to me. But I want to make sure you guys can still hear me. So I started contracting at 3 in the morning, but they weren't consistent and they were far apart still. So I wasn't really worried about that. So then we went out for a walk here around the apartment, and I didn't want to check into the hospital already just because the whole pandemic is happening right now, and it was happening when I had Santiago. I had Santiago on April 7th of 2020. So I didn't want to be stuck in the hospital room and not being able to come out. And I just kind of bared it out here at home, and I was okay with it. I knew it was going to be painful. I already had it in my mind that I wasn't going to do the epidural, and that's exactly what I did. But I knew nothing was going to be able to help me other than walking and kind of keeping myself distracted. So that's what I did here at home. That night, my parents came over. My mom came in. My mom came just to check on me. And we ended up doing the belly cast because I had in mind doing a video doing the belly cast, but obviously there was no more time for that. And then whatever, the second day I was waking up at the same time around 3 in the morning and having the same contractions, but this time they were a little closer together. So then I knew like something was gonna happen that day. I was really hoping he would have came the day before just because I was in so much pain, but he didn't. The second day comes around, same thing. We woke up around 5, and then again we went on a walk just because I thought he was going to come sooner. We checked into the hospital, and I'm not too sure what time we checked into the hospital. I don't remember. When they put you in that room before they actually put you in your hospital room and decide to keep you, they were just monitoring me on my contractions. And there was a lady next to us who was not full term yet, but the nurse had gone in and said they were going to keep her. And when they told her they were going to keep her, obviously there are curtains that's separating us, so we heard everything. She started to cry, so then I started to cry because at that point I just wanted my baby. And I know it's like dumb, but I felt like how come she gets to have her baby but I can't have my baby yet? Because we had been sitting in that room for about an hour, and I was just talking to my mom, and I was really emotional just because, like I said, it was painful and I did want my baby there already. And the whole reason why I decided not to get the epidural was because my suegra and my mom had it drilled inside my head that I wasn't gonna get it. And it's a part of having a kid. You go through the pain. It's not always gonna be easy. So I really wanted to take on that challenge. And honestly, it's the best feeling telling people like I did it all natural. Just because it's rewarding. In the end, after all that pain, do I regret not getting the epidural? Not at all. If we decide to have any more kids, I would want to do all natural again. But anyway, okay, so then put us into our hospital room. Luckily, our hospital room did have a bathtub, so I was able to get in there. I was probably in there for about an hour or so. And then I had been taking baths here at home as well, just to kind of induce my labor. I would bathe with Epsom salt here, but when we got to the hospital, I completely forgot about it because I didn't think they would have a bathtub. But whatever, I was in there. So the entire time they're checking if I'm dilating. And mind you, my water never broke, so having them break my water was a crazy experience. Yeah, she had gone into the room. I don't remember how many centimeters I was dilated, and she decided to break my water. And the entire time, before she had broken my water, after I got out of the bathtub, sorry my story's all over the place, I'm just kind of trying to remember this, and then I wrote all my notes in my phone, but I'm using my phone. What was I saying? The entire time I wasn't on the bed, and I did not like to get hooked up to the machine. I know they have to kind of monitor you, but I hated being on the machine, so I would use the restroom to get hooked off, and then later on the nurses would come in like 30 minutes later and hook me up again, and then I'd use the restroom again. But if you can't leave the monitor, or you can't take the monitor with you to the restroom, so that's kind of how I got out of wearing the monitor so long, because I wanted to walk around the room the entire time. And then I also wanted to get ready. I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad Daewon had told me that no, I wasn't gonna get ready, because I would have been miserable with makeup on. But yeah, I was just trying to distract myself the entire time. It was very, very painful. Just trying to bear with the pain the entire time. And I could tell Daewon was nervous as well, because there was moments where I would break down and cry because I just wanted him out of me. So he was nervous, but he was there by my side the entire time. And what really made me sad was that I couldn't have my mom in the room with me. It made me very emotional because, she's my mother. And a week before Santiago was born, they had told me I was allowed 2 people in the room. And then the very next time I had a doctor's appointment, they told me only 1 person was allowed. And that made me so sad, because obviously I want my mom there. So we were just FaceTiming them, calling his parents, calling my parents, just kind of giving them updates on everything that was happening. And it sucked because they weren't able to be there. It was a very different experience, and I would never want to experience something like that again, because you want your family there. You want your support group there in the room with you. And I'm not saying day one wasn't enough, but we were both new to it. It would have been nice to, have his mom or have my mom there. But besides the point, he did an awesome job. What else? Yeah, so the entire time he's just next to me and kind of trying to distract me. Right when I felt he was coming, that's a whole different feeling. Like, you know when they're coming. I don't know how to explain it, but you just really feel it. So I'm telling him, like, call the nurses, like, this baby is coming right now. So then the nurses end up going in and setting up everything, and it felt like they were setting up so slow. Obviously they know what they're doing, but I just wanted them to, like, do it faster. Let me just mention that the nurses there, I'm not gonna say what hospital I went to, but the nurses there were not the best. Like, they didn't explain a lot of things to me. I was kind of clueless as to, like, afterwards, and I'll talk about that in a bit, but they weren't explaining a lot of things to me, if that makes sense. Like, for example, after he was born, but even before, nurses had gone in there and they had put a IV thing in me. It wasn't connected to anything, but they had to put it in me just in case I was going to deliver as a C-section. I guess they do that with everyone, just in case anything were to happen. So, and she had poked me 3 or 4 times, so I had blood everywhere, and that thing was so uncomfortable, and they had put it on my right hand. That thing was uncomfortable the entire time. I hated wearing it. And I had sent my mom a picture as well, because my mom's a phlebotomist, so she finds your veins right away. The nurse that had done it the first time pricked me several times, and then she had to call someone else in so they could do it. I don't know. I just didn't really like my nurses. I had liked one of them. I don't remember her name. Anyway, so when I started pushing, they put the spotlight on you, and it's something else. It's nothing like I expected. So, I'm sorry, back to the story. So then I started pushing, and then they're telling me, like, what to do, to count, and I had told Daewin to set up the camera. So we had set up both of our phones up at the window, but one of the nurses, and I'll insert it here, one of the nurses had looked at our phones. And I feel like if she wouldn't have seen our phones, it would have been fine, and we would have been able to record everything. But she did end up seeing our phones there, and she did tell us. And that nurse, let me tell you, was rude. She did that like a pro. Oh, there's shoes there. You need to turn those videos off. I started pushing. That pain is something else. It is unbearable. Where I was kind of embarrassed, like, afterwards, by the way I was kind of not screaming, like, not yelling, but kind of like, you're gonna tuck it in your chest, like you're almost doing a sit-up, okay? Do you feel a contraction right now? Yeah. Okay, tuck it in your chest. Take a deep breath. Pull your legs back. You want to support your leg? Deep breath and push all your bottom. Deep breath and push. Arms back there here. Put your arms back here. And I made it known that I was in pain. One of the nurses, like, offered to put, like, something on my head, like a wet towel, just so I could feel a little bit better. And that kind of did help, but not really. And Daewin was just by my side the entire time. He was more there just kind of for support. I mean, you can't really do anything. He was there holding my leg up, because it was really hard for me to hold my legs up. And yeah, I just had started pushing, and the entire time you just have to tell yourself to kind of relax. And it's the weirdest thing, but you literally just have to relax. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I think because my mom had told me, like, the more you stress, the more the baby stresses. And what that causes is for, like, your parts to, like, tense up, and it'll make it harder for the baby to come out. So then that's what I didn't want. So I just had it in my head, like, just relax, relax. And Daywin would want to grab my hand, but I just felt like I would hurt him if I were to grab his hand. So I just, like, had my hands loose. Like, it was the weirdest thing. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And then they just kept telling me to push. I pushed for under 30 minutes. Which actually went by pretty fast, just because that's all that's on your mind. Like, you want to get them out of there. So you're just pushing, and the pressure down there is something else. Like, feeling all of that pressure. And I had tore, for those of you that don't want to hear this, you can, like, skip forward. I had tore front and back, but I did not need stitching, luckily, because they weren't that bad. But I did tear front and back. And so whatever, like, he comes out, I hold him, and then like, I had never heard of this before, like, this part of labor before, but they still need to push the placenta out of you, and I had no idea that that's the way it worked. Like, I thought everything just came out. So then I feel, like, a sense of relief once he's out, and then I'm paying attention to him, and then the nurse goes ahead and she tells me, okay, one more push. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm holding him. What do I need to push for? And she pushes the placenta out, and that's when I felt the relief even more. But yeah, it was just so weird. It's so weird, like, feeling everything come out of you. And then you think, okay, I'm instantly gonna, like, snap back. No, you still look like you're 5-6 months pregnant after you give birth. It's the weirdest. Once he was out, I just felt, I don't know, you feel so much love. It's a weird feeling. Like, you feel, I don't know, you feel something inside of you that you've never felt before. And I love that David was there by my side the entire time. When I was pushing Santiago out, the nurse had told him, like, look, there's his head. And while I was pushing, I just didn't want David next to me, to be completely honest. I know he meant no harm by being next to me or anything, but I just didn't want him next to me. When she was telling me to push, Daywin obviously is standing right there, and he's like, grab my hand. I'm like, don't talk to me. Like, I wasn't being, like, mean to him, but at one of the times I did tell him, like, I hate you. And I guess that was funny to everyone else that I hated him. But I was just like, I hate you, like, I can't do this. And the entire time I felt like I couldn't do this. I just kept telling the nurse, like, he's not coming out. I feel it, like, he's not coming out. He's never gonna come out. And she's like, yes, I see him. But yeah, and then he came out, and it was the most beautiful thing ever. Here's a picture of when he was first born.
Can we adopt?
So some of the things that no one ever tells you is the recovery. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought, like I said, I thought I was just gonna, bounce back. But no, I was completely wrong. No one tells you that it's gonna burn like hell when you pee. Again, this is really personal, so if you don't want to hear this, bye. But no one tells you how bad it hurts to pee after you have given birth, especially if you have chores. But there the nurse is like waiting for you to pee, and you're just sitting there confused because you think you're gonna be able to pee, you know? And she goes down there and she starts squirting you with the squirt bottle, and then you start peeing, and oh my gosh, that pain is so bad. It's so intense. So there you are, just constantly spraying yourself, and you just want to pee like little by little. And what sucks is that all that fluid is coming out of you, so you like constantly have to pee. And they actually kept us there, well, the 2 days, but like I said, their staff wasn't the best. They had taken forever to do some tests on Santiago. Santiago came out perfectly fine, which I thank God for. He had no complications. The healthiest baby ever. He was born an 8-pound baby. But when they had let us come home, they had just taken forever. Like I said, they took the 2 days, and then they didn't allow us to leave until 10 p.m. the second day, when they were supposed to let us out earlier that day. You know how everyone gets out like early? Yeah, no. They were just taking forever to do his tests. And when they had done his tests, some nurse had gone in there, and she was drawing his blood from his foot. And I don't know, she has to put it like on this paper. I don't know what it's for. I don't know. But she pricks his foot, and then she stamps it on the paper. Well, she pricked him so many times where I was just kind of like annoyed with how many times she pricked him, because she couldn't get enough blood out. So he's there crying, and she's squeezing his foot so hard. Well, on the side of his foot, he has like a little a moreton, because of how hard she was doing it, and it hasn't gone away. I don't know why it's still there, but he did not have that when he was born. And after she had given him those shots, it was there, and it still hasn't gone away. I'm sure it'll go away with time, but it just makes me mad. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, like, call another nurse in there to help you. Another thing that they didn't show me how to do was breastfeeding. So I had given birth. She puts the baby on my chest, asks me if I'm going to breastfeed. I tell her yes, and she leaves the room. We were in the room for about like 40 minutes, in the same room that I had delivered. And then she was like, okay, like, are you done breastfeeding? I had no idea you had to breastfeed. She didn't explain that to me. She didn't show me how. Like, I mean, we were newbies. Oh my gosh, these eyelashes are not sticking. We were newbies. I didn't know how to do any of that. So that made me really mad. But this was already a different nurse, because the other one's shift was already up. So then this is the nurse that I really liked. She was pregnant at the time, so she could see where like I was coming from and everything. She was super nice. But yeah, they didn't show me that. They didn't give me a handheld pump. My mom was telling me that they should have gave me a handheld pump. They should have showed me how to change his diaper. They should have showed me how they showered him, because all these things they did not do. And I'm a first-time mom. I didn't know how to do any of that. When they showered him, instead of showing me, the nurse was actually showing another nurse. I guess she was like still training, but she was showing her how to shower him instead of me. And I kind of already knew a little bit about bathing and everything and changing diapers, but I didn't know much because he was a boy, and I've only had to take care of girls. Yeah, so like none of that they showed me, which I was super upset about, and my mom was very upset afterwards too. But yeah, that nurse had showed me how to breastfeed. She showed me how to change his diaper, but she had to do everything that the other nurses did not show me how to do. But yeah, I probably won't give birth in that hospital again. The only reason I gave birth in that hospital was just because it was so close to home, and it was convenient for us. But I wouldn't even mind driving somewhere else if I do decide to have another baby. Now, as for right now, I'm not planning on having another baby anytime soon. If it happens, it happens, but I'm not like, yes, let's have another baby. Just because, I don't know, I think I'm still fresh to the whole experience that it still kind of scares me. Santiago will be turning 3 months. I think I told you guys this earlier. He'll be turning 3 months in 5 days. But yeah, that is my labor and delivery experience. Now, if you guys want to know Daywin's whole experience and all that, and what he was feeling throughout it all, then just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to film that with him. Let me know how you guys liked this vlog. I enjoyed filming it. Again, I wish I would have done it earlier, but I didn't. It was honestly just me procrastinating on doing so, but I do want to get back into the rhythm of filming videos because I do enjoy it. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. Please comment below if you guys would like to see Daywin's half of the labor and delivery video. But yeah, thanks, bye.